Yesterday, the LA Clippers and LA Lakers faced off in what was probably the most important game of the entire NBA regular season to this point. Coming into the game, both teams were playing some of their best basketball of the season, with the Clippers finally getting fully healthy and starting to build some chemistry, and the Lakers having just beaten the league-leading Milwaukee Bucks in another highly anticipated matchup. And this matchup had no shortage of narratives and headlines going into it. The Lakers trying to avenge an 0-2 start in the season series against the Clippers, LeBron making a late push for the MVP, the Clippers potentially showing that they are in fact the championship favorites with a win. All of it was in play. The game that followed might have created even more storylines than we had anticipated though. And whether it was the matchup of LeBron James and Anthony Davis versus Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, how each team's role players would match up with each other, and how this game impacts what we think of each team's title chances, we certainly learned a lot about these two teams in this game. So welcome back everybody, my name is Tucker, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the Battle for LA Part 3, because I think this is one of those few regular season games that you really can take a lot away from, and I just kind of want to give my thoughts and see where this is going to go for these two teams moving forward. And obviously I'm heavily invested in this game because it's a huge game, it's Lakers-Clippers, but also I picked the Clippers as the team that I think is going to win the championship in a video a few weeks ago, and I still think that that's the case even after this game, but we'll get into some of my thoughts here. So as I said in that intro, there were a lot of things to watch and to pay attention to coming into this game. Both of these teams were playing really well. The Lakers had just beaten the Bucks and looked good doing it. There was some LeBron MVP stuff that was starting to happen, and this was also going to tell us a lot about the Clippers' home court advantage and whether or not they had one, right? But I think the entire conversation about this game has to begin with LeBron James. And I'm not on the LeBron James is the MVP hype train right now. Maybe I'll make a video about it in the future, but I think over the long haul, Giannis has still been the MVP. But just watching LeBron in this game and throughout the season, you could make the argument that he's been better, right, in his career at different times. He's been more efficient, certainly, in Miami from the field. He's been better athletically in Cleveland and in Miami. But I'm not sure that LeBron has ever been in control of basketball games on a consistent basis as much as he is with this Lakers team, whether he's facilitating, whether he's posting up, whether he's driving, his jump shot is better. I don't think there's an argument to be made that this is the best LeBron we've ever seen, because I think there's definitely more dominant versions of him, but I don't see how he could possibly be any better than he is right now, given his age, given how many minutes he's played, how far into his career he is. He's simply incredible, and I think the conversation has to begin there. And then as we move along to Anthony Davis, as we break this down star by star, he is continually becoming an issue for the Clippers. He's always been an issue for them, but from a matchup standpoint, it's a huge issue, right? And I think that's something that goes for both of these teams, is whoever's going to guard the second guy, like LeBron and Kawhi can guard each other. If LeBron can hold up for an entire game guarding and playing strong defense for an entire series at his age, but then it's kind of like, okay, Paul George and Anthony Davis, they're not necessarily a one-for-one matchup, so who really is going to match up? And I think the Clippers really don't have a matchup for Anthony Davis, and that was clear through the first two games that they played each other, but now that they're fully healthy, it's even more clear. I mean, they try and do Harrell, they try and do Zubac. I think maybe George eventually might be the long-term solution, maybe some Marcus Morris, maybe some JaMychal Green. It's going to be multiple guys, but Harrell he had a lot of issues with them. Zubac is probably too slow, and that is definitely still an issue. And then you get to Kawhi, who kind of laid low through the first three quarters and then really took off in the fourth and kind of took over the game for the Clippers offensively. He's still as good as he's ever been. Had some interesting struggles defensively, specifically against LeBron yesterday, but both him and LeBron had issues guarding each other at times. And then Paul George played probably one of the best halves he's played all season in the first half of this game. Looked fantastic. His shot looked great and kind of reminded everybody that, yeah, this guy's also really good. And for those four guys, I would give LeBron and AD a slight edge overall, but I think in a given 7-game series, they're pretty much going to cancel each other out on average, right? Like, it's not to say that LeBron and AD can't have a much better series than those two, or vice versa in a given 7-game series. But if you're just looking at it objectively on average, I don't think you can give a huge edge to either team in that category of those stars. And sometimes, you know, one group is going to play better than the other, and then vice versa. So really for me, this matchup, if we get it in the postseason, which I really hope we do, comes down to the other guys. And that's why I still believe in this Clippers team, despite the result of yesterday when the Lakers had a lot of guys play really well. Kuzma was good defensively. Avery Bradley was hitting a ton of shots. Probably the best Avery Bradley game that he's had in years, right? Rondo had a really rough first half, was doing some things in the second half. Caruso's playing good defense. McGee was good on the glass. But overall, I don't trust the Lakers group as much as I trust the Clippers group. Let's just read these names out and see where you guys stand on this. So for the Lakers, it's Avery Bradley, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Alex Caruso, Markieff Morris, KCP, and Rondo. For the Clippers, it's Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverley, Marcus Morris, Zubac, Danny Green, Landry Shamet, Reggie Jackson. For me, I think that Clippers group is better, and I don't think it's particularly close. Now, none of those guys really looked outstanding for the Clippers yesterday, except for Harrell, and even he had some struggles at the free throw line. I thought Zubac looked solid. Lou Williams and Marcus Morris were awful yesterday. And this Marcus Morris thing is starting to make me a little bit nervous about my championship pick at the Clippers, because he's going to take shots, and he's going to take some questionable ones, and every single questionable shot that he takes one away potentially from Kawhi or Paul George. And if he's going to start doing that in the fourth quarter of some of these games, it's going to really cause them some issues. I like his size. I like his tenacity, his energy. But if he's not hitting shots, it's going to be an issue. And then Lou Williams defensively, he just can't be on the floor late in games. Like, he closed the game yesterday, and at about 4 minutes left in the game, he was really struggling. They were hunting him out on switches, and I really thought Doc Rivers was going to pull him and put in someone like Landry Shamet or whoever, Patrick Beverley. Just put in someone other than Lou Williams, because it's not like he was hitting a ton of shots and then defensively he was just getting torched. They never made that switch. Maybe they will in the postseason, but so like you can start to poke some holes in the rotation of the Clippers, and it's not like this ironclad group, especially against the Lakers, and that matchup definitely causes them issues. But overall, as a group, I'd rather have the Clippers than I would the Lakers, and that is really the reason that I think that the Clippers are going to win the championship over the Lakers. And I could end up being dead wrong, but that's just further explaining my reasoning. But getting back to the game yesterday, one of the concerns that I've had about the Lakers for the entire season, and as we get into the postseason, is the three-point shooting stuff, right? Whether it's attempts, makes, percentages, all that stuff is not great compared to past championship teams and finals teams over the last 5 or 6 years, right? But it's interesting watching them play, because they do have this ability to win on the glass, to protect the rim, to play great defense, to get to the rim a ton, to get to the free throw line a ton. LeBron and AD lived at the free throw line yesterday. They have an ability to be so good at all the other areas of the game that they really only need one or two guys to have a good shooting night for them to just not get completely pummeled in the three-point category. And then they're probably going to win because they're better than pretty much every other team in the league at all the other stuff outside of shooting. So for example, yesterday that guy was Avery Bradley. He hit like 6 threes, right? And then LeBron's going to hit a few, AD's going to hit a few, and that's pretty much all you need. Maybe one from Danny Green, you get to like 10 to 12 threes, and they're so good at everything else. They're so good protecting the rim. They're so good on the glass. They're so good getting to the rim, free throw line, all that stuff. Not in terms of percentage. The free throw percentage stuff is definitely a worry, but they get there a ton, right? And that kind of, puts to rest in my mind a little bit the fears I have about three-point shooting. Now, they could always get in a game, and this is the case for any team, and lose the three-point game by like 10 makes, and they're probably going to lose the game, but they have an ability more so than a lot of other teams to win the game despite not being like an outstanding three-point shooting team, right? And that was one of the bigger takeaways for me, because a lot of times you watch these games and I try and see, okay, well, how real is this result, right? And you look and you're like, Avery Bradley's making 6 threes. Marcus Morris going 0 for 9. Lou Williams like 3 for something from the field, right? Like that stuff's not going to happen all that often. Montrezl Harrell going 6 for 11 from the free throw line. So there's plenty of outliers there. And so overall, I still think that these two teams are pretty even. And if you want to make the case for the Lakers and say it's LeBron, it's AD, they're better than Kawhi and Paul George, LeBron is more in control of the game than he's ever been, you're absolutely going to be able to make an argument against me that I'm going to be able to listen to for the Lakers over the Clippers. I still go back to the depth. I still go back to this Clippers team simply having more options, right? When it comes down to it, the Lakers are going to be so dependent on LeBron and AD to play well, and then one or two of their role player guys to shoot the ball well, whether it's Caruso or Bradley or KCP or Kuzma, whoever. They need one or two of those guys to shoot well, and that's their formula. They're so good at everything else. I feel like the Clippers have more options than that. Like, they can have a great Paul George game and win. They can have a great Kawhi game and win. They can have a great Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell game and win. They're still really good defensively. They don't match up great with the Lakers because they're so big. The Marcus Morris addition helps a little bit there, but against most other teams, they're fine. And I just feel like they have other options. They can go big. They can go small. They have 2 really good wing defenders. I don't think the Lakers have 2 really good wing defenders. The big kind of negating factor of all this is how good AD is compared to the Clippers' bigs on both ends of the floor. I just think that the Clippers have more options. I think they have more versatility. I think they're better built to withstand an entire series because if something goes wrong, they have, you know, a couple of other plans that they can go to. I'm not sure that the Lakers have that. Each of these teams still have wrinkles, right? Like the Clippers can put Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on Anthony Davis and see how that works. Put the other guy on LeBron. And, you know, that's another wrinkle that they haven't really used a ton, but maybe they will. At least they didn't use it a ton in this most recent game. The Lakers can still put AD at the 5 more. They can go smaller, especially with Markieff Morris there now. Each of these teams have wrinkles and they have options. I just think the Clippers have more. I think they have more ammo. I think they have more versatility and more depth, and that's what it's going to come down to in a 7-game series. Having more adjustments available, I think, is a big deal, and I also think Doc Rivers is a better coach for whatever you think that's worth. I wouldn't be surprised in any way if the Lakers beat the Clippers in the playoffs and got to the finals and won the championship. I would not be surprised at all, but right now, in the beginning of March, I still think that the Clippers are the better team overall, and that's not to take anything away from the Lakers. They're incredible, and I know it's kind of weird to continue to make that statement after the Clippers just lost, but I still think they're better overall, and I don't know, like that's just what my gut is telling me. That's just where I'm at with this team. And yeah, there you have it. That is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.